One of the questions AFI always got asked was, what does AFI actually stand for? What is that acronym? A lot of people thought it might mean asking for it. And the band kind of put that to rest by releasing an EP in 1998 called A Fire Inside, which decisively told people what that band actually was called. It took a line actually from the opening track of Shut Your Mouth and Open Your Eyes, and it was kind of their motto from then on out, and even to this day. I mean, we still refer to the band as A Fire Inside or AFI. I mean, I can even remember on one of my English classes in high school, our teacher put on a pop quiz, literally the first day that we got there, just for kind of getting to know people, and literally asked the question, what does AFI stand for? And I knew it meant A Fire Inside. So this EP that they've released, it kind of continues on what they started with Open Your Mouth, Shut Your Mouth and Open Your Eyes. It kind of continues on that same aggressive tone. The opening track called 3.5, which kind of continues on that whole pattern of threes that they had on Shut Your Mouth and Open Your Eyes with songs like 000, for instance. It really continues that aggressiveness, that heaviness that they brought with that really kind of straightforward hardcore music that they brought in there. The following track to that does actually lighten things up a little bit. It's a little bit bouncier. It's a little bit more fun, I would say. It's a little bit more of a light-hearted punk song in terms of its tone. Musically, not lyrically, it's still definitely an aggressive song. It's still Davey Havok doing his growling thing, not quite screaming per se, but definitely in a not exactly clean state of vocal work here. And it also features 2 cover songs, Hanging Garden by The Cure and also Demonomania by The Misfits. And as far as the Hanging Garden cover, I'm not the biggest fan of that song in general from The Cure, so I can't really speak as far as whether they did a good job on that cover or not, or which is the stronger or anything, because I honestly don't like the cover that much, and I don't like the original song all that much. I don't think it's, I know, sure, somebody's favorite song out there from The Cure, but definitely not mine. So I really won't get into that a little bit, but they kind of give their own spin on it. I would definitely say that it really feels like you kind of get a sense of where AFI is going at this point, versus channeling the more aggressive hardcore 80s bands, late 80s, early 90s hardcore bands. They're starting to kind of branch out a little bit and to kind of incorporate the other sounds at this point, which again is definitely demonstrated by the fact that they covered a song from The Cure, a definitely not hardcore punk band for the 80s. You also get, again, Demonomania, which is originally by the Misfits, and it definitely fits right in with AFI and where they were going with their kind of darker tone of things. I mean, the Misfits kind of really kicked off the whole horror punk thing. They're definitely one of the bigger names in that scene of kind of bringing over-the-top, cheesy, dark lyrics mixed with punk instrumentals, and that's kind of where they go with this. And I think that was probably one of the Misfits' harder songs, and it gets just even more aggressive with the AFI cover of it. And again, it really kind of paints a picture of where this band is headed as far as what they're kind of trying to incorporate into their sound at this point, that they're trying to branch away from just being something that's completely generic. Like their first 2 albums, like I said, as strong as they were and as good as they were, they never really did anything that caused them to really stand out in amongst other bands within the same scene, versus now we're starting to look at definitely they're starting to kind of stand out a little bit more, and they're willing to branch out a little bit, incorporate different sounds into it. And this EP is definitely a good transition from what they were doing in the past. I mean, Shut Your Mouth and Open Your Eyes, they said, was kind of a pretty big departure for them, just because it just kind of really swept away that, straightforward, kind of lighthearted punk fun, and just brought in raw aggression to it. And it still, again, was kind of on the fairly generic side of things, but now they're starting to kind of transition into something more, as we know, as far as what they later become. Thank you so much for watching the AFI review series. Next time we're taking a look at Black Sails in the Sunset.